course. People are coming in. We got Brittany in here. Hello, Brittany. Thanks for joining us. We are officially live. I'm going to be popping over to Instagram real quick and making sure that we're live over there too. As you guys can see, we have a guest in the house today. This is going to be an exciting show. All right, let's make sure our Instagram is up and running. We are looking good. Very nice. And I'm not going to waste any time. I'm just going to dive right in and say, welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to another amazing episode of People Helping People. Before we dive into this amazing conversation with my brother here, David, we're going to kick off a little bit of intro music, and then we're going to get things fired off. So here we go. Let us know if you guys can hear us okay out there.
What's everybody fighting for?
Hey. It's so funky.
Why can't people help people?
Nice.
That's the question.
Oh my God, it's people helping people.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, it is day 2 of 30 live shows in 30 days. And I am so excited. I'm sitting here with my brother, David Castillo.
Yes, sir,
welcome to the
man.
show, man.
Thank you for
welcome
having
to
me.
the show. Absolutely. And, you know, you and I have, we got a lot in common for one, but there's so many things that, you know, we can relate on. And I think one of the big topics is that you and I are both type 1 diabetics. And I want to dive deep into that because it's something that a lot of people are not only being diagnosed with as we speak, but a lot of people have lived with this ailment. I don't even like to call it an ailment or disease. I think it's a superpower, to be honest. But they've lived with this their whole lives, and or were diagnosed at a very young age.
Yeah.
And so I definitely want to dive into that. But before we get into that, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself to the people, let people know who you are.
David Castillo. I am a California native originally. Been here in Tucson about 11 years, I believe. Got to meet this great man back in 2021, I think it was, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. A big fan of him. Huge supporter of him, being a type 1 diabetic and everything he does, and making people reach out and help each other like he does.
Awesome. Dude, well, yeah, we appreciate you coming onto the show, man. And yeah, you touch on that. It's like you really have been such a supporter of the things that I've done in life. And I met you just a couple years after being diagnosed.
Yeah.
And I was kind of on my comeback journey. You know, for those of you that don't know, I was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes late in life. Of the 1% of individuals that don't eat themselves into diabetes, I was diagnosed at 28 years old, and almost lost my life multiple times. And on my way back, my journey to recovery and learning how to be a diabetic, I ran into you. And how did that start out? Do you remember that?
Yeah. I was at the hut. Excuse me. I was at the hut, and I remember I was hanging out with my friends, and I was headed to the dance floor. I remember walking onto the dance floor, and it's a real big thing for me. Like, my eye finds diabetics, like I call them diabetics out in the wild.
Okay,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I remember seeing, I think you had a Dexcom on or something.
Yeah.
You had the same thing I did. And I remember approaching you, and I was like, bro, are you a diabetic? And you're like, yeah. I remember just giving you a hug. And I was like, yes. Like,
Yeah.
but it feels so good for being a type 1 diabetic, seeing other individuals out being themselves, enjoying life, you know, not just staying home and being afraid to show, you know, this side of this illness. Like, we are regular people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's so rare that you come across another diabetic, like I said, out in the wild,
Yeah.
day to day. I can't go out tomorrow and see another diabetic. You know what I mean? Like, so that's how I remember meeting you.
Yeah.
And that's, I mean, right away, I was just like clicked on, like,
Yeah.
I found a bro.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean?
Diabetes for life.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I remember that as well, man. And like you said, meeting diabetics is so few and far between.
Yeah.
Like, even since I've been diagnosed, I have not had a sit down real conversation with another diabetic yet. And
Yeah.
it's been, gosh, so 2018, 6 years, give or take. And yeah, I haven't had a real conversation with another diabetic. So I want to thank you for one coming onto the show.
Yeah.
And I kind of want to run through your experience as a diabetic, right? Because I think there's a lot of diabetics. Well, we keep things under the surface because nobody can really understand the struggle.
Yeah, that's a really, really big thing, I think, for being a diabetic. Like you said, yeah, we don't really. It's not like we go out like, "Hey, we got diabetes," you know? What I mean?
Yeah,
like,
yeah. Even though I have it blasted on my neck.
Yeah,
but,
right. Yeah, exactly. Like, so yeah,
Yeah.
that's a real thing though. And the same, I haven't sat down and had a talk with a diabetic, you know, who's gone through it and gone through the struggles of the ups and downs and just feeling like you got hit by a train or,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Never. I've had it 23 years, bro. I got diagnosed when I was 12 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm 35, about to be 36 now. So obviously a lot of complications come with diabetes, as you know. And yeah, they're scary at times. They are very scary. Can't tell you how many times I've woken up in the hospital not knowing how I've gotten there.
Oh,
You know what I mean, bro? Like, big shout out to my lady, Sonia. Hey, love you. But I remember waking up in the bed and I already had my daughter. I already had Marley. She was only like a year. And I woke up, bro, and I had the IV in my arm.
Mm.
I'm just like, damn, what the hell is going on, right? So I popped my head up. There's a bunch of dudes in my room. Like, what the hell? I'm like, what the hell is going on?
Where am I right now?
I'm like, what? And I seen who they were. And they're like, yeah, your sugar was at like 5. And, you know, they're like, your girlfriend called me or called us. And yeah, like, so cases like that, they suck. I mean, unfortunately, it comes with being a diabetic, as you know. I mean, one of your last podcasts, you had a low sugar.
Yeah.
And I mean, me and you know the symptoms.
Yeah.
You know, we'll start sweating. We'll get shaky, incoherent, not know what's going on. You handled it quite well, by the way. I seen you sweat and you're just like, I'm like, oh man, bro, sugar's going low.
Going
like,
through it.
Give me some juice me. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. It's a real hassle, man.
Let's dive into that a little bit, man, because I take me back to, you said you were diagnosed at 12 years old.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. So at 12 years old, you were diagnosed. Was this something that ran in your family or were you the first?
Yeah. So I never knew my biological father.
Same.
Yeah. He was never in my life. So when I got diagnosed, it was kind of just like a slap of like reality. Just like my whole life changed. You feel me? Like, and we couldn't figure it out. And I love my mom because she's always been my biggest supporter, you know, and she thought originally it came from her but no one, so my mom's is adopted. So she didn't know if anyone on her side had it. You know what I mean? So it was like, it's kind of like a ball toss, or maybe I just got screwed in the pooch and got cut with a chronic illness. You know what I mean? But I found out, it's a weird story. I'm trying to make it short. One of my friends in high school, I found out that his uncle was my dad.
Whoa.
Yeah, it was random as hell. I only seen one picture of my pops or my real dad, but my mom's. And so my buddy on Facebook posted a picture of him. He's like, rest in peace, Uncle Poogie. I was like, what? I was like, how you know him? He's like, that's my uncle. I was like, nigga, that's my dad. He's like, what? Whoa. Yeah, like mind blown, right?
Holy shit.
Never knew anything. We lived in the same hood and all that stuff. But so that opened up a whole nother realm of family, because he started reaching out to like my aunties on that side, and they started hitting me up, whoop-de-whoop, and I started asking, like, is anybody in our family got diabetes?
Yeah.
And they're like, you know, all your aunties have diabetes.
Whoa.
And I was like, damn, like, okay, so that's where it came from.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I knew it was in my blood. I knew it was my DNA. So
and how old were you when you were figuring this all out?
Oh, damn. About getting it from my dad.
Okay, so you get diagnosed at 12.
Yeah.
Right? And then did you figure out that he was your father after the fact and then start asking all these questions? Or
I think I found out that it came from his side. I think it was like my first semester in college.
Oh,
so
okay.
Like 19, 20.
Okay, so you'd had it for a while.
Yeah, I was more grown up. Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, it was a big shock. It's kind of like a stress relief because I can tell my mom it didn't come from her. You know what I mean? Our moms are like, I'm sorry. You know what I mean? That's their job, but it didn't come from my mom's.
Yeah.
So that's where I ended up getting it from. It was hereditary.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And how did things change? So, up to 11 years old, up to 12 years old, kind of walk me through when you were diagnosed. Were you in a state of ketoacidosis, or was it like what had happened?
Man, so I was at a jazz festival in Long Beach because my best friend, one of my best friends, his dad was he used to set up like stages and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So we had VIP access and all that good stuff for 2 days. And so I was just being a 12-year-old kid, eating brownies, eating a bunch of random stuff. You know what I mean? I wasn't a sugar fanatic. Don't get me wrong, by all means.
Yeah.
I barely drank any soda. But I remember we went to the Queen Mary, dude, and no joke, bro, like every 10 minutes, I was peeing like a gallon of piss.
Oof. Yeah.
And I couldn't figure out what was going on. And so I remember walking around the Queen Mary and like getting really, really lightheaded. Like my vision was shutting out, and I was just like, damn, like this is weird.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, can we go back? So we went back to the jazz festival, left that place at like 10 o'clock at night, got to my boy's crib back in the hood, and he lived like a block away from me. And I remember going to sleep on his couch, and I woke up like every 15 minutes having to drink something. Well, I mean, back where we lived, you didn't really drink the tap water. You know what I mean? So, but the only thing he had was like Dr. Pepper, bro. Yeah. So I'm waking up and I'm chugging this Dr. Pepper, dog. I must have chugged like a whole 2 liter.
Yeah.
And the same thing, I'm pissing my brains out. I'm like, damn, what's going on? You know what I mean? I woke up early in the morning because at this point, my nerves were shutting down from having such a high sugar.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, bet. Like I said, he lived right around the block from me. And it took me like a half hour to get there, which is not normal at all. And so I got home, woke up my mom's, and she's like, all right, I'll come check on you right now. I went and sat on the couch in the living room. I think I blacked out for a while because I don't really remember exactly what happened. But my mom said she came in, I looked like a zombie. Oof. So her and my uncle,
it was terrifying.
Yeah.
Your little boy is just like not doing good.
And I had lost like 26 pounds in those 2 days. Yeah. So they put me in the car. We're driving to the emergency room. I'm like, damn, like I'm thirsty. Being high blood sugar, you got cotton mouth. Yeah. I mean, you cannot swallow. No matter what you do, you're like choking.
Yeah.
So she's like, what do you want? Well, if you're really high blood sugar, you crave more sugar. It's weird. Believe me, it sounds weird, but it's a real thing. Your body is like, give me more. So I was like, I'm thirsty. So we went to 7-Eleven, man, and she got me an extra large Slurpee. And I don't blame my mom for any of that. You know what I mean?
How could she have known?
Yeah, and I was a 12-year-old kid, bro.
Yeah.
You feel me? I was like, man, just give me a Slurpee. So I chugged that Slurpee, got to the emergency room. They signed me in. My uncle went with me to the restroom. And I remember I was standing in the urinal, dog, and I was just like, I felt like beyond intoxicated. Yeah. I was so messed up, and my nerve endings in my legs gave out. Oof. I remember I was peeing, and I just fell, boom, and I smacked my head on the wall. So my uncle picks me up, right? And he puts me on the counter. And he's like, you're getting my nephew back there now. So sure enough, they take me back there, and they start doing all these tests. Like, he doesn't have a fever, whoop-de-whoop. His blood pressure's fine. And then the nurse checks my sugar. She runs out of the room. And I remember I was fainting. Like, I was blacking in and out of consciousness, man. And shit was crazy. And I remember the doctor came in. My mom's over there, like, freaking out. And he's like, how long has he been a diabetic? And being 12 years old, I didn't know what the hell diabetes was.
Yeah, what'd you just call me?
I'm like, is that a dinosaur? Like, what are you talking about? You know what I mean? Like, I didn't know what was going on. So my mom's like, he's not a diabetic.
Yeah.
He's like, ma'am, he has a sugar of 1,350 right now.
Oh, my.
And I was still conscious. I'm like, I was hungry because I didn't eat for 2 days. Keep that in mind. Like, those 2 days I was there, I ate probably like a brownie. And then my sugar started going up.
Yeah.
So I was hungry. I'm like, man, you got to feed me, doc. Like, I am starving.
Yeah. And
like, I was thin. He's like, we're not going to feed you.
Yeah.
He's like, we're going to pump you full of fluids. And so he walked my mom outside the hallway. I remember like 3 nurses came in, bro. My arms were full of IVs. Both arms had IVs. My feet had IVs in them. Like, I was just hooked up to a bunch of freaking needles and tubes, bro. I didn't know what was going on. Keep in mind, I was blacking in and out. And so I blacked out, and then I woke up in the ambulance. I remember this shit. Like, I was in the back of the ambulance, right? Because I had to get taken to a children's hospital. And this bitch went to start. So I'm in the back of the ambulance hearing this motherfucker crank over. It's just like, I'm just like,
just your luck at this point.
yeah,
right?
and ain't nobody back there with me. Like, hey, don't worry, buddy. It's like, I'm just sitting there like, what is going on? Like, I'm still trying to comprehend the whole situation. Finally it started. I blacked out, woke up in the hospital, same thing with tubes hooked up to me. And then my dad was there, my pops, shout out to my pops, Mark. He was there with my mom's. And that's when reality really hit in, because my sugar was so high for so long, my nerve endings deteriorated, like they burnt out.
Ooh.
Yeah, so I couldn't walk. I couldn't even walk to the restroom. They had to help carry me and all that stuff. And then I was in that hospital for like forever. I think it was like 2 weeks.
Wow.
But finally, after like the first week, when my sugar started to come down, my legs started actually like kicking back to filling. And I had to learn how to walk around the hospital lobby with a freaking IV stick. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Just do laps and laps and laps, bro. And like that. I remember that shit was so hard because the only thing I wanted to see as a 12-year-old was my dog.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I'd open the window and they brought my dog's socks out to the parking lot. And I was like, oh, like that makes me feel like I'm home. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah. And that was when I got diagnosed. I set the record for highest sugar without going into a coma.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Over
and asking for food.
Yeah.
You know, I was hungry. I ain't gonna lie. I was starving, bro. Like,
God.
Wild.
And I can only imagine. I think that this would be great to have like a 3-way podcast, you know, where we call in your mom and hear her side of things too, because it really is such a scary family event for your kid to be going through something like that. And I would love to hear how life had to change, because now, without her knowing, she has to become an expert at being a diabetic.
And that's the thing. Like, I just want to say shout out to any of the parents that have kids that are diabetics or any illness. You guys are amazing.
Soldiers.
Seriously, you guys are superheroes to us. Thank you guys so much. Mom, if you're watching, I love you so much. If you weren't here, I wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
Like, some real talk. And it's amazing what the parents are willing to do and what they have to do. You know what I mean? Everything changed. And I was so young, I didn't know what to do. So my mom took over. Yeah. You know what I mean? So
yeah. So walk me through that a little bit, as far as like, now you got your legs back under you, you know, you're getting your feeling back, and I'm sure that you had multiple hospital visits after the fact, but what changed at home after that? I mean, your mom obviously had to dive headfirst into this new endeavor and how to take care of her son, who is a newfound type 1 diabetic, and being that she didn't have in her family, may not have been familiar with it. Like, how did things change around the house?
It was weird at first, you know. Like, I remember when we came home with a big ass, like a duffel bag of needles and Humalog and Lantus. Yeah, like, I still hate needles. My tattoos and stuff like that, those are different. But injections, like giving blood, to this day, I want a Band-Aid after I get blood. Give me a balloon or something. You know what I mean? Right. So when we came home, it was just kind of like a big slap in the face. Like, hey, sorry, this is your life now.
Here you go. Figure it out.
Yeah, here's your stuff. That's how it is. Like, hey,
they just hand you your stuff. Yeah, figure it out.
You've got a dead freaking organ. Sorry.
Yeah.
Is how, you know what I mean? So I still had to learn about diabetes. Yeah. I didn't know carb counting. I didn't know what a low sugar was. Yeah. I knew what a high sugar was because I almost fucking died. You know what I mean?
Lived it.
But it was just a big lifestyle change, bro. And same thing for my parents. Like, they had to switch everything up. They had to learn how to count carbs. They had to get one of those carb books and go through them bitches and, like, you know what I mean? Like,
oh, yeah, because we didn't really have access to things like we do now.
No, not back then. Hell no. This was in 2001. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, everything you buying books and recipe books.
Yeah.
And like,
everything was old school, man. So, and then like the injections part. Like, my mom always used to give me my injections. She was a trooper. Shout out, Mom. You're amazing. But as I started getting older, obviously, boys, we go through puberty. You develop muscle. I started doing sports. I couldn't get shots in my arms no more because they were just muscle.
No fat.
Yeah, you ever get a shot in a straight muscle? It hurts like a bitch. It's like acid. Yeah. Like, real talk. No, for the people that don't know, it hurts really bad.
So bad.
Yeah.
The hardest part for me being a diabetic is not having enough fat.
Yeah.
100%.
It's a pain in the ass. And I remember my mom gave me my last shot, bro. And I was like, I'm done. Like it stuck in my tricep, and it was just like, ooh. I was like, yep,
You feel it burning.
I love you. I was
all
like,
down.
yeah. But then I started doing injections myself,
Yeah.
and yeah, it was just a huge lifestyle change, bro. I remember one of my closest best friends, call him White Boy Nick. I went back to his house after being gone for like 3 or 4 weeks, so I was almost dying.
Mm-hmm.
And he opened the door and was like, he's like, what happened to you, bro? You're in the hospital. I was like, I got diabetes. Keep in mind, a lot of people don't think ill about my homeboy. He didn't know what it was.
Sure.
But he was like,
Yeah.
I was like, nigga, what? I was
Yeah.
like, yeah, I got like
Am I
the
gonna
zombie
catch it?
virus.
Yeah.
I was still confused. I was like, is this contagious?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
but obviously, if you don't know, I mean, you're gonna be sketchy about it. So it is what it is.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you know,
And that's another thing too, which I think is super important to touch on is the simple fact that there's power in being diabetic. And I feel as though, after I was diagnosed, it gave me an opportunity. Well, not even an opportunity. It forced me to look at every single thing that I put into my body and be in tune with how my body reacts to specific foods.
yeah, that's real talk.
And I wish that more diabetics in the world weren't afraid to bust out their needles and their
pumps and all
their
that
pumps
stuff.
and all that in public and,
Yeah.
and be transparent about it, because it's not something you have to hide. You can wear it with honor. And I really have type 1 diabetic on the back of my neck and on the side of my neck. And I've had a lot of people come up to me and just be like, that's really courageous of you to wear it like that. And it's, for me, I look at it as a superpower. Like
Yeah.
I get the opportunity to really be in tune with my body. Now, this superpower comes with a lot of highs and lows.
Yeah, no pun intended.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, it's okay to wear whatever you have on your sleeve and be completely open about it to people, because I don't think the conversations like this would even happen if you weren't open about having, type 1 diabetes or whatever it may be. And like you said too, a lot that can be distasteful to some people, right?
Yeah.
And I kind of want to jump into that and like social environments and things like that. So you're going through puberty, you start dating and stuff like, did you try and like repress and not tell people about it? Or was it ever something that you were ashamed of?
Definitely. When I was younger, I was really embarrassed of having a chronic illness.
Yeah.
I wouldn't take a shot in public. I would go hide in the corner and take a shot. I
Yep.
was so embarrassed of it. I wouldn't poke my finger in public. Like I didn't want anyone to know I was different. You feel me? Keep in mind, we're teenagers. So, I mean, we want to be like everybody else. But yeah, I was really low hush hush on my diabetes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then, I started getting older, man. I was just like, you know what? This is my life. Like,
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like when I was in freaking starting a few semesters of college and I'd go out with my boys and they're like, bro, you're still hiding in the bathroom? Like, why?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I honestly looked at it that way. I'm like, why? I'm like,
Yeah.
I can look at somebody across the room like, hey, is your pancreas working? That's great because this is my pancreas.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? I'm like, here, let me draw up a shot real quick.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so, but I think all diabetics go. I think just anyone that's dealing with something like on our level of like a chronic illness or anything that you don't want other people to know about because it's been so hard and such hard of a fight in your life.
Mm.
When you first start off, you might be just like, damn, like they're going to think I'm different.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I held off on getting a pump and a CGM because I didn't want things on my body showing that I was different.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
I didn't get on a CGM till 2021.
And for the people that may not be diabetics, let's run them through what a pump is and a CGM and the difference between not having those and having those.
Oh God.
There's a
Lifesavers.
lot. Yeah, really. If you're not on a pump and you're diabetic,
Yeah.
please. And honestly, that's what I want to do with the show is eventually get to the point where I can purchase those things for people because they are absolute lifesavers, game changers
They
as
are.
diabetics.
They
And
really are.
And a lot of people don't either have health insurance or they do have health insurance that doesn't cover those types of things.
Mhm.
So if we can come together as people helping people, eventually I want this to turn into something where we are sponsoring families with insulin supplies, with good, nutritious food, which is so fucking important.
Yes.
But let's explain to the people the difference between going from insulin injections and pricking your finger to having a pump and a CGM.
Yeah. So the way I look at it is injections is more like old school because we have the pumps now. And like he's saying, pricking your finger. So back in the day, I don't know when you started, did you prick your finger?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
for like the first year and a half.
yeah. Well, so as diabetics, we have to check our blood sugars. We get a test kit, prick our finger, get blood, and we hook it up to a meter, right? It'll read our blood sugar and let us know where we're at. That was, like I said, the old school way. Me, myself now, you do too, right? You have a CGM?
I do.
So we both have CGMs. It's a continuous glucose monitor. That's what's on my arm right here.
Mine's on my butt cheek, or else I'd show you guys.
Yeah.
So.
We don't want to get flagged.
Yeah.
But the CGM is a continuous glucose monitor. It watches our blood sugars 24/7. If we start to have a low, gives us a warning. If we're starting to have a high, it gives us a warning. So it's a huge lifesaver. It was for me because I had a sugar so low that I dropped down to 16. This is when I had my own place, and I would always keep orange juice next to me, right? So my sugar was so low, and I was so disoriented that I got up, walked across my room, and fell. And I remember waking up. It was like 2:00 in the morning, bro. I'm like, damn, where's my damn orange juice?
Yeah.
And I'm like, bro, you walk past it. I'm like, you gotta be shitting me right now. So
you're so disoriented.
Yeah. So I got up, I tried grabbing my juice, and my legs buckled, and I fell back. And when I fell back, I hyperextended my left elbow to the point where it broke off and made bone spurs in there.
Oh,
yeah, like bad, dude.
Oh,
right. So CGMs are really great because they will yell at you literally if you're going low or going high. Like yours went off in your last podcast.
Yeah, I was just.
I heard it and I was like, "Hey, juice."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
yeah, in the midst of a podcast that I was having, and this is what's interesting about that. Those CGMs, they're connected to your phones, which is great. They just go. There's just like a little sticker, a little puck, and it has a needle that goes into your skin and gives you a continuous glucose monitor. And basically, I'm sitting there having a conversation just like you and I are now, and I'm learning with my audience. Like they're watching me learn how to do this stuff live, right? Yeah. And once we're live, it's on. And
I have no going back.
Yeah, exactly. We are on. So I'm sitting there and I'm having a great conversation with my buddy Ari about his mechanic shop here in town. Shout out Ari. Shout out to his shop as well. And as I'm talking, I'm realizing that I'm not landing any planes with any points that I'm making. I'm like just carrying sentences forever.
Yeah.
And they're just like going on. And I'm not saying a damn thing. And you watch the video back and the bead's starting to sweat on my head.
Cold sweat.
Yep. And then all of a sudden the alarms start going off because it was like a drastic drop.
What'd you hit?
Probably like 45.
Which is basically death for anyone who doesn't know.
Yeah.
Horrible feeling.
It's really, really bad.
Horrible feeling.
And so I eventually just had to acknowledge it because we're live. So I look up at the camera and I'm like, people, I'm sorry. I'm a human being. I'm having a hypoglycemic attack right now. And I asked him an open-ended question real quick. I looked over and I was like, yeah, so you could just walk me through that while I go get some honey and throw it in my coffee.
Yeah.
And
try to save my life.
Yeah, I got to save my life right now, live on stream.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, you don't bounce back from that quickly. And that's what people don't understand is like, not only did I go 30 minutes without remembering any of our conversation, when I watched it back, I didn't remember any of the show.
And that's a real thing too. Like, and that's one of the biggest things I will touch on with the HA because he knows when we have low blood sugars, we can do stuff for an hour or so running low, excuse me, and we will not know what's going on. By all means. I mean, I've had times where I was at work and, you know, I'm doing something. They're like, hey, can you help me out and grab this? I'm like, yeah, sure, bet, I got you. I'll go up there to the truck and just be like, what?
Yeah. Well, why am I here right now? Like, what is going on? What did he ask me to do?
Exactly. Yeah. It's definitely not fun. And like he said, we don't really bounce back. I mean, you might see us get juice and we'll chug it right away. Sugar might come up, but the effects of having a sugar, damn, for us, it's like below. When I get to 70, I start feeling a little skittish. You know what I mean? So when we get down to the 40s and 30s, that is literally like death for us because we can go comatose. we can faint, we can black out. Like me, I fell and I didn't even realize that I basically broke my elbow. I mean, things can go really, really bad.
Really quickly.
Super fast.
And it's in anybody out there that is a type 1 diabetic, you know, though, like I feel for you wholeheartedly. And that's why I think that these conversations are really important. And if you see somebody that is a diabetic, try and make a friend. Like
Please.
The fact that you came up to me and just said, "What up? Are you a diabetic?"
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, yeah.
It
Like I
feels
couldn't
amazing.
wait. I couldn't wait to like meet you and just be a part of anybody's life that was a diabetic, because it's a misunderstood disease. People don't, and I hate saying the word disease. I almost want to call it a misunderstood superpower.
Yeah.
You know, but it's something that not a lot of people know or understand about. So to bring light to what it is and to have conversations with people that also have it and being like, man, I'm not alone.
Exactly.
Is really important.
Yeah.
And
big thing for sure, man.
yeah. And I just want to say too, like you're touching on lows and being at work or somebody asking you to do something. Like I was working in the oil field. And we were working 16 to 20 hour days, 7 days a week.
Yeah.
And I'm running a crew who's we built the pipe bombs. We built the explosives that went 5 miles deep into the ground. I was a crane operator. I had 3 guys underneath me, and we were the Marines of the oil field.
Yeah.
And the only reason I was able to do that is because I went and got stem cells in Mexico. Because like you, I was in KDA, ketoacidosis, and lost all this weight and had this big, you know, coming back to being a human being again and learning late in life of how to be a diabetic. I also have Crohn's disease, which is diagnosed with both those. But all this to say that there would be times where I'm sitting in a crane with a, you know, 80,000 pound load with my guys underneath it, swinging a load and just being like, beep, beep, beep. And my alarm's going off. And I'm like, their lives are in danger. My life's in danger.
Yeah.
Like it gets really real, really fucking fast.
Yeah.
And I just want people to know, like, if people who are around you are diabetics and they need to take a moment, just understand that if they do have a low, it does take a little while to bounce back, and maybe their energy levels may not be the same after that. And, you know, if you're with a diabetic and you guys are going to do things that may be off grid or something physical, if you can, remind them to grab some juice.
Yeah.
Because
grab a granola bar, get a banana.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
And it's so tough too, to remember, even me after a few years. Like I find myself out, just like earlier today, I found myself out and about driving down the road, and all of a sudden beep, beep, beep. And I'm like, oh shit. I didn't bring anything.
Exactly. Then you're like, damn, I got to stop and save myself.
Yeah. So what do you carry on you? Do you carry stuff on you, or
mostly
like
juice?
Yeah.
I always make sure I have juice with me. It doesn't matter where I go. Today I didn't, because I was just trying to get over here, and I started getting into like the 90s. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna get some chili mango. Remember I told you I was like, I'm gonna get some chili mango and some juice. Pop those in my mouth. Sugar came back up, went a little elevated, but didn't go high. Yeah. So, but yeah, it's a real thing, man.
Yeah,
you know,
for sure.
It's a real thing.
For sure. And so you went through college, and some of your college friends basically said, hey man, like, don't sweat it. Like, that's who you are. Or
yeah, it was my boys, my best friends growing up with back in the hood and stuff like that. They all seen me from when I was 12 years old. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All through high school and all that stuff. So
like, you don't have to hide this anymore.
Yeah, man. And like, it's hard, especially if you have, like, when you're that young, you got like an ego.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You don't want nobody to think you're different, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Or weak.
Yeah.
Because it feels weak at times.
Exactly. And you know how
it's hard.
That is rough, especially for a man. And I just want to say, you know, to anyone who's a diabetic, do not feel that way at all.
Yes.
Please, it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
It is really okay to let people know. Because if something happens, God forbid it does, at least they know you're a diabetic. Yeah. By all means. I mean, they have those necklaces. They've got wristbands. You know, this is my controller for my my Omnipod. It says it right there. That's my controller for my insulin pump. So, but don't be afraid to let people know. Yeah. The more that people know, the more they can help.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Well said, man. I'm glad we touched on that, because I feel like as a man, there is a sense of weakness when I do have lows, and I'm getting through that still. You know, even in social situations when you do have to pull back, and you know people are having fun or whatever, and you got to sit in the corner and drink your juice for a minute.
Yeah, you got to survive.
Chill. Yeah, like
you got to survive.
You got to take care of yourself.
Yeah,
and it's okay to not be okay. And like you said, it's all right to be hey, I'm a diabetic. I'm gonna go chill for a second. Put it on the forefront.
Exactly.
Let people know. It's going to take me maybe 15, 20 minutes to start feeling okay before I can come back.
Yeah.
And just be vocal about it.
Because it's like if we hide it, then no one's going to be able to help us.
Yeah.
You feel me? Like, oh, dang, he's over there laying down. He must be tired. No, he's at low
Yeah.
blood sugar.
Yeah.
Go pour some sugar in his mouth.
I'm having cold sweats over here. Like,
yeah. That's the real talk, though. I mean,
let's go to some questions. We got a bunch of people in. I want to thank everybody for joining us on the show tonight. Really appreciate you. We're talking with a fellow brother of the show and of myself, David Castillo here. He's a type 1 diabetic as well. And we're just talking about being diabetics for one, and then hopefully sharing some wisdom to the people about the disease itself and then how to go about navigating it, because you have a lot more experience than I do. So I'm taking some wisdom from you, right? And I hope anybody out there is getting some nuggets from this. But we do have some questions. Cybersecurity Sensei, do glucose tablets help with T1D during hypoglycemic episodes? We keep them in our glove box in case my wife's sugar drops unexpectedly. She's not diabetic, but her sugar falls at times. So I've never taken those.
I used to take them when I was younger. So I will say, yes, they can help.
Great question.
As long as she's able to, pop them in her mouth. Sometimes, God forbid, a sugar drops so low, she can't open her mouth. Now, when I was talking earlier, when I had to get IV hooked up to my arm, my lady couldn't get no juice in my mouth. I wasn't seized up, wasn't having a seizure, but we can't comprehend what's going on if we have a really low blood sugar. But if it's at the point where she knows what's going on, you know what's going on, glucose tablets definitely help. Yes, they do.
Great.
By all means.
Yeah, great question. Thank you for being a part of the chat. Thank you, everybody that's joining the chat right now. We've got Oren, Kin CT. Yes, we can see you. Hello, welcome in. Let's see. Cybersecurity, we know you're out there. We see you. We appreciate you jumping in. Tony Swerple, we see you out there. Ann Cloutier sends us a super sticker, sends us $2. That, you know what? Thank you so much. I think that's the first that we've ever got. Really appreciate that. Salute to you. And thank you for being a supporter of the show, People Helping People. But ladies and gentlemen, we're going to run over to a quick advertisement. We do have some sponsors of the show, so we're going to go ahead and run our advertisement for the sponsor of the show for the first time. So we'll see how this works out, and we will come right back. This episode of People Helping People Live is sponsored by T-Town Boxing, Tucson's home for boxing, kickboxing, and recovery classes for all ages. T-Town Boxing isn't just a gym, it's a community where you can build confidence, discipline, and lifelong skills. Whether you're stepping into the ring for the first time or sharpening your technique, from kids This episode of People Helping People Live is sponsored by T-Town Boxing, Tucson's home for boxing, kickboxing, and recovery classes for all ages. T-Town Boxing isn't just a gym, it's a community where you can build confidence, discipline, lifelong skills, whether you're stepping into the ring for the first time or sharpening your techniques. From kids to adults, beginners to experienced fighters, T-Town Boxing offers a space to grow, train, and challenge yourself. So, if you're ready to push your limits and join an amazing community, reach out to T-Town Boxing on Instagram at instagram.com/T-Town Boxing or their website, boxingtucson.com. Again, instagram.com/T-Town Boxing or their website, boxingtucson.com. Back to the show. All right. Thank you, T-Town Boxing, for sponsoring the show. And I realized that we just ran the ad where I screwed it up. So that's great. You guys get to see a little behind the scenes.
Hey, things happen.
Things
happen.
Yeah, this is what it's all about. We're learning. We're having fun. A few things before we dive into this next segment, brother. If you guys know anybody that wants to be on the show, whether you be a business owner, you be a musician, you be an artist, you can reach out to us. This banner at the bottom here, you can either reach out to me on Instagram at People Helping People Live or at The Real Alexander J. Either one of those. If you know somebody or you are somebody who wants to be on the show, let me know and we'll get you on and make sure you be a good fit. And we'll get a nice interview and get you some good content. But yeah, welcome back, everyone. We are still sitting here with David Castillo, and we're going to dive into some of the uglier sides and harder things of being a type 1 diabetic. And, you know, I think, like I said, I like to look at this as like a superpower, but there's also things that are very tough for us as diabetics in navigating life to put on the forefront and be open about. And I kind of wanted to ask you about some of those things. And
yeah,
when it comes to things like relationships and dating and things like that, is there like a certain time frame that you wait to talk about that? Is that right on the forefront?
I mean, so my girlfriend in college at the time, she knew I was a diabetic right off the bat because I wasn't really hiding it anymore. But she got to see, the ups and downs. Obviously, I had a really low blood sugar, I believe, of like 15. Excuse me, and I woke up paralyzed just from my neck down. I couldn't move, and all I could do was like yell in her ear, like we were asleep. I'm like, I can't freaking move.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, grab the juice. I was like, I can't move. Like, literally, I need your help. So she had to pour juice in my mouth. And then finally, like 4 hours later, everything came back. And I had a lot of episodes where I was up in my sugars. I was throwing up. I couldn't see straight, like stuff like that. Like I said, there's a lot of ups and downs. And she straight up told me, like, I can't do this because it's so hard to watch you like die almost every time.
Yeah.
And so that was a big mishap in a relationship. It was when I was younger.
Sure.
When you're young, you don't really care.
Yeah.
But I was straightforward right off the bat. My lady now, my Sonny, she knew I was a diabetic right off the bat.
Yeah.
She was there when I had a super low blood sugar. She's seen me through highs. There's been times where me and the kids were coming home to like get snacks and go back to the pool, and I dropped like 40. I'm like, I got to eat an orange and lay down.
Yeah.
Before I lose everything.
Yeah. And
so she gets it. She's a really big supportive. Shout out to Sonia. Love you, babe.
Shout out.
But I think as we get older, we have to be honest with our partner right off the bat, especially having this illness we do. And if you find that ride or die that's willing to sit there and help you through, everything, ups and downs, and save your life, like she saved my life, it's a big thing, man. It's a really big thing. And those women or men, if you're female diabetics, whatever the case may be, are hard to find. They are hard to find. But when they're there, bro, I mean, it's a life changer.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And shout out to Sonia. And my girl is the same thing. When we had met, I'd only been a diabetic for, 10 months. And I was also diagnosed with Crohn's on the same day that I was diagnosed with diabetes. And it really took its toll. I mean, I was bleeding out of every orifice in my body. And, I was in a state of KDA. My story was real similar to yours, right? And I think that that's very common. Is I had to pee all day long. I was falling asleep behind the wheel. People at a red light would be honking at me. I'd be waking up and I just couldn't eat enough sugar.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, gosh, man, maybe I need an energy drink. Like I'm falling asleep all the time. And long story short, I get diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, and they did so many tests on me before they found out that I had Crohn's disease as well.
Yeah.
And everything good for Crohn's is bad for type 1 diabetes and vice versa. So I was at this crazy conflict of how to figure out my diet, my lifestyle.
Yeah. Just fighting yourself.
Yeah, really. And all the literature that I had on Crohn's was like, eat carbs and do this and that. And everything on diabetes is like,
Don't
manage your carbs. And I'm like, oh fuck, I'm screwed, you know? And, but I ended up meeting my girl, September 10th of 2019. And we had hit it off, and she just took care of me, man.
Yeah.
Like that support was crazy. Like you said, I don't think I would be here without her.
Yeah,
because
there was real thing.
Yeah, there was times in the middle of the night, you know, where you wake up and your alarms are going off and you're shaking and you don't know if you can get up and stumble down into the kitchen and grab some juice or whatever it is. And I just be like, babe, I like can barely talk. Like I help. Like,
Juice.
Yeah, juice me. Yeah,
Juice me.
So yeah, and then, you know, in a serendipitous way, 6 years later, we meet back up, and she's still that lovely, caring person, and has just been taking such good care of me. So shout out to you, Kayla. I love you. And I wouldn't be here without you, you know, from the beginning to now. And she's been an amazing support system through and through. And that support system is so important for the diabetics, because sometimes we can't do it by ourselves, man.
That is a really, really good way to say it, man. I mean, I tried it for a while and I was living by myself, and obviously I failed. I mean, I've called my mom because I couldn't move and I had to like crawl with one arm that would work to juice. You know what I mean? Had that situation where I basically broke the elbow. So, you know, the partners definitely help. Yeah, absolutely. So shout out to anybody out there that's taking care of somebody that is going through these types of things. We love you guys, and it really takes a village. It takes a family to come together, and you do have to have support. And if you don't have support, reach out to somebody and try and get some. And you know, honestly, if you're a diabetic and you need somebody to talk to, like, we are here. I know that he needs some diabuddies. I need diabuddies. And you see something? Hey, shout out to my brother Tony Swerple.
Tony Swerple,
that's my brother.
There he is.
I love you. Hey, without Alex, I love you, bro. He was there. I had a seizure, and he caught me. I was on the couch. I didn't mean to cut you off. Sorry.
No. This is what it's all about. This is live.
But glad to see you guys are joining in. Big shout out to you guys. I love you. All my heart. Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah. Thank y'all for joining us. This is great. And cool. We got Bugs 420 OZ2.
Yeah, that's my brother, Alex.
Nice. Love you, Dave. It's great. He says, love you, Dave. It's great. You're sharing your story and helping others out. Good work. Man, we really do appreciate you guys coming. I'm going to give you guys a round of applause for being here. For real. Thank you. But yeah, man, again, I just want to say thank you for coming through. And, you know, as we continue to move forward and grow older and wiser through our, you know, experiences, and, you know, was it nerve-wracking being a type 1 diabetic, having this coming of age into manhood, you know, in your 30s, and thinking about having a family, because now you got a beautiful daughter. And was that something that was daunting?
Yeah. Excuse me. Yeah. So at first I didn't want to have kids. It was for that reason, man. I was really, really against it. You know,
same.
Shout out to anyone that's dealing with it. You guys can do it. It is possible. I have 2 beautiful children right now. I had my daughter Marley Castillo in February 16th, my mom's birthday. Shout out to you, Mom.
Hey,
same birthday my mom's.
I love that.
Yeah, she was born in 2023. Everything was great. Everything was Gucci, man. And then last year, July 5th, we went to a 4th of July celebration, and she was just not herself. And I could tell something was wrong. Something was wrong. She wasn't talking. She could barely walk. Her eyes were all sunk in, super thirsty. Me and my lady took her to the emergency room like 2 o'clock in the morning. And they do the same shit, excuse my language, but they're like, you know, no fever, blood pressure's fine. I'm like, no, check her sugar. She's a baby. I'm like, no, check her fucking sugar. I'm a diabetic. Like, I'm not gonna tell you again. So they checked it, and Marley's sugar was at 485. Oh. Yeah, and like in the moment, like I lost it. I want to say shout out to Sonia again, babe. I love you, because she was pregnant with our baby boy, and I lost my shit. I mean, I've never yelled and cried so hard in my freaking life. You know, just finding out the one most innocent thing in my life just became what I was. You know, like, and it hurts so bad, bro, because you know how it feels when you have like really highs and when you have lows. And I knew what was wrong with my baby, and no one wanted to listen to me, and it pissed me off. And so we had to sit in the hospital for about like a week with her, man. You know, hooked up to IVs, and I couldn't sleep, and it was so haunting. But I mean, I went outside and I called my mom's, my brother, Alex. I'm pretty sure I called you. Just like crying my eyes out, man. Like I still cry about it today because it just is the most touchy subject. When you find out your child has the same disease as you, and it broke me. Like I've never had my soul broken so hard. But Marley's great. She's doing amazing. Actually, July 5th will be her 1-year anniversary as being a diabetic. She's the reason why I got on the Omnipod, the insulin pump, because I didn't want her growing up thinking she was different. You know, I put on her pump. I put on her meter. She's like, pump. I'm like, where's daddy's pump? She's like, daddy's pump, Marley's pump. So like, yeah, things like that. I mean, they make up for it, man. But
yeah,
it is possible. And you guys, if anyone has like an illness or anything, don't be afraid. You know, things might happen, things may not happen. Wherever it is, you're a blessing, your child's a blessing, and don't be afraid. You know, you got to be strong for your kid, and that's just what it has to be. You know,
yeah. Man.
So.
Yeah, that's really something that I'm going to take with me, is just not to be afraid, because I feel like, you know, I felt the same.
Yeah.
I'm mid-30s now, and you know that time is coming when I start thinking about things like that. And I've always thought, you know, same as you, how could I have a kid? How could I do that? And I think the reality of the situation is, you know, like your daughter being diagnosed at a young age, and then having somebody who is so experienced to guide her, to help her along the way. And with technology the way it is now, where things can almost be on cruise control. Yes, you still have to be present. Yes, you still have to be considerate of what you put into your body, and be a little bit more mindful than the average. But for her to have somebody like you.
Yeah, man. I'm grateful. I am super grateful. And everybody keeps telling me that, you know, she's super lucky. And I thank God every day that, you know, I'm able to be there to help her.
Yeah.
Because I know when she starts acting a certain way, what's going on. You know, I can go to her doctors and be like, you know, I think her insulin sensitivity is kicking up at a certain time. It's dropping at a certain time. You know, as diabetics, we know things that doctors know, but not by books, by living it. And so I'm grateful for that, because I can do it with my daughter. You know, it's a real helpful tool. It really is.
Yeah.
So
yeah. And how are things changing as far as like at the house since she's been diagnosed? Like I mean, obviously a lot, right? But is there a big shift in diet, or is that tough because of her age? You know, that's toddler age. Like,
oh man, she eats whatever she wants.
Right.
She'd be in the pantry over there grabbing chips. I'm like, let me count your carbs. She's like, no, and just take off running. I'm like, Marley. So it's kind of it's a pain in the ass. Hey, Cassie, love you. My sister right there, Cassie.
Nice. Hey, Cassie, we see you out there. Thanks for joining us.
So yeah, it's a pain. It's a pain, you know, especially being a toddler. They want to do whatever the hell they want. They want to eat whatever the hell they want. Yeah. She talks a bunch, so she'll let you know, like, I want a popsicle. I'm like, no, you just had 2. And she'll get pissed. Like, so I'm like, God damn, girl. So yeah, it's a big change. The other siblings know not to just let her eat whatever she wants. Right. Not to let her grab a thing of orange juice and start chugging it. You know what I mean? So yeah, it was a big lifestyle change. Thankfully, you know, I lived through it for 23 years, so I have the experience to help coach the rest of my little family to figure it out. And her mom, Sonia's amazing. She does great when I'm gone. I worked 94 hours last week, so I mean, I didn't get to see my family the whole week, you know, and I know Sonia's there to take care of it. And, you know, my parents, her mom, her Marley's older siblings. So nice. Yeah, man.
She's got an amazing support system. Yeah. And again, you know, it's got to be one of the scariest things to hear that. I mean, that I cannot fathom being in those shoes. But on the flip side of that coin, you know, there's support through and through. And being diagnosed at a young age, it's, gosh, it's so tough to say that that's a beautiful thing, but it's I'm trying to look at the positive side of things. Like,
yeah, that's all we can do. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
she'll eat healthy. I mean, she'll always be in great shape. So
yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
everything else, like you said, with technology nowadays, bro, we basically have a bionic pancreas.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
you know,
gosh, yeah, and I can't wait to go experiment with something like stem cells. And well, I mean, I've done stem cells before, but they have them specifically to regenerate the cells in your pancreas and have that. But hopefully down the road there's some breakthrough technologies that help. So is she currently on she's got the Omnipod as well?
Yeah, she literally has the same thing I do, the controller. She has her own phone for her Dexcom.
Yeah,
so I can see what her sugar's at right now. I mean, she literally has the same setup as me.
Yeah.
So
can you dose her remotely?
No. So how the controller works with her Omnipod, she's got to be within 20 feet.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I mean, whoever's with her has the controller.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I can see like, hey, Marley's sugar's going up, can you dose her or something like that?
Yeah.
But thankfully her mom, Sonia, I love you, is on top of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it'd be a huge blessing if I could dose her from like while I'm out of town working. But yeah, hopefully in the future technology will get that good. But
yeah. Well, man, I want to thank you for sharing. I really appreciate you.
Course.
I don't know if there's anything else that you want to touch on while we're here.
I don't know. I just want to say if there's any diabetics watching or anyone with a chronic illness or anything you're struggling with, I mean, don't be afraid to reach out. You're a human. We're all human, and don't be afraid. There's nothing wrong with it. Asking for help, letting people know. You know what I mean? It's completely fine. It's completely fine. And if there is anyone watching that's a type 1, you're doing amazing.
Yeah.
Any chronic illness or anything, you're doing amazing in life. And for everyone else, it's just watching. You guys are also amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing, brother. And thank you all for tuning in. Everybody that's tuned into this episode of People Helping People. I hope that you got some wisdom and you have an amazing story, man. And
Thanks,
I would love to have you back on the show anytime. Yeah. You're a family of me. You're a family of People Helping People. Yeah. And you're really out here doing God's work. I mean, it's really tough for us to go through life and reach out to people and have, good connections with people that you may or may not know. And I think that this show has really brought a lot of that into my life, and to be able to have people like yourself sit down and talk about their experiences in life and give a little wisdom and a little bit of love to the people that are out there watching. So again, I appreciate you, man. And we're going to go ahead and end the live stream. We are at an hour. That flew by.
It did.
That flew by.
Especially when you touch on something that's like personal in your life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, damn, you get so much into it. You look at the time, like, damn, we're talking a lot about ourselves.
Yeah, we did an hour. Thank you all for tuning in. Ben K, we see you out there. Amanda Cardenas, we see you out there.
Hey, Kim. Thanks, Mama. I see you. Thanks for joining.
Kim, we see you out there.
My boy Tony's wife.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you guys for joining us. And we're going to go ahead and kick off the theme music and let y'all go. Thanks for tuning in to the second of 30 days of 30 live streams. This is day number 2. And we look forward to seeing y'all tomorrow. Everybody, take care.
Yeah. What's everybody fighting for? Why can't people help people? That's the question.
Oh my goodness, people helping people!